Hello, and welcome to Triggered Care. I'm Alex. And for the first video of 2021, I'm going to be talking about rape. Which I know, very lighthearted topic to start out the new year. However, I've been going through lots of rape flashbacks the last few months. And I wanted to share some experiences I've had with rape and also with talking about it. Because I talk about rape with both men and women in a peer support setting or just in a hangout session. And I've always kind of done that. Talked about it pretty openly once I've processed it enough to talk about it. Talked about it pretty openly with both people. And one of the more aggravating responses that I can get from men, which this is not exclusive to men, there are women who respond like this too. Just in my experience, most of the women who I talk to are also survivors, so they don't say this to me, like ever. But for men, a lot of times I'll hear something along the lines of, well, you just need to, whatever that is, you just need to fight him off. You just need to get away. Or I've even heard, why did you let that happen? And so I kind of want to get into that logic and actually make a response to that in a public way. Because I'm getting real tired of hearing that a little bit. And no hate or judgment towards the people who think along these lines. When you haven't been there, it is easy to just make up whatever reaction you would like to have in that moment and be like, well, this is what I would do, without having the lived experience. So I kind of want to get into that. So during a sexual assault, there's several different reactions that a person can go through. I'm purposely saying person because sexual assault does happen to men too, and we know this. And those reactions, for me, in what I've experienced, fight, flight, freeze, and fawn. And I kind of want to delve into what that actually looks like when you apply it to rape. Because on several occasions, I have either fought or tried to get away during the assault. On many occasions, I have frozen in response to being raped and the initiation of it. And on several occasions, I have fawned in reaction to sexual aggression. So first, let me go over the fight and flight responses that I've had and what I can recall from those moments. One of the first times that I can consciously remember when I'm old enough, I was about 14 years old, but I'm old enough now to, when I'm getting sexually assaulted, especially from someone that I don't know that well, and I'm in a different environment, and when he started to touch me in inappropriate ways, I'm wording this very carefully so I don't flash back on camera, but when he started to touch me, my initial response was to stop it, to try to fight off the advances. And I could not speak because I was terrified, but I started to close my legs and try to get up and get away from the situation, which he just responded by holding me down harder and forcing legs apart. It got to the physical extent where I blacked out. And then when I came to, was when somebody was coming down the stairs into the area that we were. And so he starts getting dressed and getting me dressed, and I'm shaking like a leaf. I still don't know what happened during that blackout. I kind of am at the point where I don't want to know what happened. But it was terrifying. One time it worked, and that was a couple years later, or a few years later in high school, where a boy about a year younger than me cornered me in a closet and tried to start groping me and tried to rape me. However, I don't know if it was like the psychology of it or what, but I was way more comfortable speaking up the second time, where I am taking his hands off of me and I am being like, "What are you doing? No, get off of me." And he kept going, but I was strong enough in that moment to just whip him away and be like, "No, I'm getting out of here. Stop it." And running out of that space. The next time that it happened, where I had a fight or flight response, was in college. And this is somebody that I just met at a house party. I was drinking a beer. Blackout. When I come back to, this person is having sex with me from behind. And once I had grounded myself and like registered what was going on, my first thoughts were run away. So that's what I tried to do. I tried to run away. However, this person was stronger than me. And in my attempts to run away, it just made them brutalize me more, which then led to considerably worse injuries and blood and not the greatest. And then after they were done with me, I crawled back home pretty much. I didn't crawl back home, but I went home very slowly because I was very hurt, and I boiled myself in a shower and was like, well, that's just the way life goes. And the last time that this happened was actually last year, where I was being touched in ways that I didn't want to be touched. I made that known of, hey, I don't want to do this. I'm not comfortable with this. And they persisted. And it was a struggle. But I was able to eventually distance myself. And that was a really painful experience. Because they did force me to do things still, but I was able to get away without full penetration, which was, I guess, lucky on my part that I put up that big of a fight, but it was really, really difficult. The other one that I've only had a couple experiences with is fawn. And the only fawn experience I can remember at this moment happened earlier this year as well, where I was in a situation where I was talking with someone who I was very close to at the time, and the subject matter that we were talking about scared me, and I can't really go far into detail about this for confidentiality and to keep myself safe, but the subject matter that we were talking about, first of all, it shattered me the way that they were talking, and it also made me incredibly scared. And so the first thing that popped into my head once I realized that this person has the capability to kill me was, I need to make sure that they like me. I need to make sure that I'm on their good side, because if I'm not on their good side, they will kill me. And so that's when whatever fawn response thing I have in my brain was like, well, if I have sex with them, they will like me a lot. I know I don't really want to have sex with them, but I will if it means that I get to stay alive. And that was a really awful experience. Go figure, even though in the moment it looks like I'm consenting. It looks like I'm initiating in the moment because I'm scared, because I'm fearful for my life. I'm fearful for my livelihood. I'm fearful for people that I love. And that is non-consensual. And the freeze response, which has happened to me too many times to count across many different men. I haven't really talked about this much because it is still a sensitive topic. But I was raped for years in my adulthood and saw it as normal because of my family home that I come from and the normalization of it that got drilled into my head. But since I froze in reaction, since when it would happen, I didn't want it to, but I'm like, well, there's nothing I can do about it. I'm going to just disassociate for a bit to escape. Afterwards, I'd be like, well, it's my fault. You know, it's my fault. I didn't fight him off. I really didn't have a choice, but like, it's my due. It's my job. And I've talked about this in the hypersexuality video. Like, it's my job to just lie here and take this so things don't get violent, so things don't get scary. And when you boil it down, it comes to the question of which is more dangerous, being raped or fighting off a rape. Which is more traumatizing? Which is going to get you more bloody? And I think the big thing that men have to understand, and I mean everybody should understand, I don't want to generalize here, everybody should understand, is that for smaller people, for petite people, for people who are effeminate, the threat of rape is a constant. Going out, there's a threat of rape. There's always that threat of, since you are a weaker person, since you are an easy target, if somebody comes along who is sexually aggressive and sees you as an option, you just entered that world like that. And for a lot of bigger people, more masculine people, the more intimidating looking people in our society, they have that privilege of not worrying about that, about not even thinking about that. I remember one time I asked a friend to walk me to the bathrooms because we were camping and it was after sundown, so it was dark out. And I asked him, like, hey, can you walk me to the bathroom? He's like, sure. And on the way, he turns to me and he's like, Alex, why do women always need, like, bathroom buddies? Like, I'm happy to walk with you. Like, I'm fine. But, like, I don't understand why you always have to go to the bathroom in pairs. I looked at him just like, so we don't get raped. What are you talking about? Like, it's such a simple answer that I just thought everybody knew. And he's like, what? I never even considered that. I'm like, well, yeah, you're not a bigger man, but you're a man and you don't really need to worry about that much. Like, just being out and about and being seen as a target like that. And then I explained more, like, most of us know how to hold our keys in between our fingers in parking lots and stuff like that, or have pepper spray or have some sort of weaponry on us so that we aren't an easy target. And unfortunately, a lot of rapes happen with friends and with family. And when that happens, there's so much fear and stigma around speaking up about it because people won't want to believe you because this person is loved, this person is whatever, you can't ruin their reputation. Around here, that's a huge thing, is not ruining men's reputations with sexual assault things. And that's still a huge problem here. It's still a huge part of our culture, and we need to identify that and rectify that, because I'm glad that I know a lot of people who can relate to me. I'm also very sad by the fact that I know a lot of people in real life and on online support groups who relate to me. This is a huge issue, and it's not so simple as to, well, women just need to fight it off better. No. We're ruled by our adrenaline responses, which we don't get to choose at the time. How about we have a more open discussion about, why is this happening? What's going on? And that kind of bleeds into another topic, which will have to be another video, because I could ramble about this for quite a while. But I just kind of wanted to talk about this and kind of explain it, of why fighting off rapists isn't always an option. And sometimes it's not the best option. If you're getting overpowered and you anger somebody trying to get what they want, and they're already aggressive enough to force you into that position, you're putting your life more at danger. So, woo, 2021. Yeah. If you have any other suggestions, feel free to comment and all of that. I hope everybody's January is getting started off all right. I've been all over the place, I feel like, but you know, what else is new? My life is always all over the place. So, have good ones.